Adeyemi. Good morning.
Good morning, Kemi. I'm loving your red today.
Oh, and look at me admiring your popping look.
Oh, well.
Oh,
what
well,
to do?
Right. All right, then. Once again, thanks and welcome to the program. And indeed, it's packed full as usual. Let's begin right away. Today marks the first International Day of Intangible Cultural Heritage. It's a day as declared by the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. This day is dedicated to reorganizing or recognizing and preserving the rich cultural traditions that define us. Intangible cultural heritage includes traditional music and dance, oral histories, and folklore, as well as craftsmanship and artisanal skills, festivals, languages, and dialects. Well, these traditions are more than just customs, they are part of one's collective identity. So it's important to safeguard the intangible cultural heritage to ensure the diversity of cultural expressions and the continued vitality of our traditions. The National Institute for Cultural Orientation, a focal agency to UNESCO on cultural matters in Nigeria, is joining states and other stakeholders of the 2003 convention to celebrate this day. To tell us more about the significance of the International Day of Intangible Cultural Heritage, we have joining us from our Abuja studio the Executive Secretary and the Chief Executive Officer of the National Institute for Cultural Orientation, Biodun Ajiboye, FCIA. Thank you very much for joining us. Right, so of course Nigeria, home to more than 250 cultures and so much more that makes the country unique. How do you relate with the importance of this day in a multicultural country as Nigeria?
Thank you very much and good morning. It is just so important to learn and know that for the United Nations to have set aside this day is telling the world, sending a signal to the world that the global, organization, United Nations and, UNESCO, its arm, recognizes the essence of our being, the essence of our humanity as a people, the importance of those things that define us and, give us the kind of cultural identity we all have as human beings. So, the world setting aside a day like this for recognition of intangible cultural heritage simply tells you that the future development of the world would depend on recognition of the cultures of the people. And culture is a very strong fabric that accounts for, that hold together unity of a people, especially a people with so much diverse cultures like Nigeria. The world is saying that no matter what, humanity started from somewhere, and we must continue to recognize humanity if we want peace in the world at large.
And speaking to the importance of this day, how well would you say we have come in terms of, preserving this intangible, form of cultural heritage in Nigeria, especially when you look into the level of civilization that we see today?
Sincerely too, that moving away from our culture, negligence of our culture by our people, by government or anybody else will not do anything good to us as a people. And I'll tell you what I mean. Both civilization and development. I don't know what you mean by civilization, but let me just say, development for any nation cannot be so apt without, being mindful of our cultural antecedents and our cultural being, our cultural potentialities. Now, I tell you something. When a child loses its cultural pride, it loses his pride of where he's coming from, he cannot be exactly proud of where he's going. So I'm saying that development should recognize culture. It is when you have your humanity filled with pride as a person that you can begin to say, well, this is who I am, this is who I want to be, and you can compare yourself with other people in the world without feeling inferior. So, I am saying at this juncture that Nigeria should begin to recognize our culture a lot better, a lot more than we have done in the past. And we are here to, let the government understand that a lot of things can still be done by simply recognizing our culture and giving a sense of cultural pride to our young people. And the future portends a lot of goodies in that respect.
In terms of orienting Nigerians to, the love for culture, appreciating that our diversity is indeed our strength, what would be your own form of advocacy? Where would be a good place to start?
Now, very simple. We have taken up the initiative. We have taken up the initiative in my organization, the National Institute for Cultural Orientation, to say that the first place to start is to have a format of education, cultural education for the young people of Nigeria. To that extent, we have come up with an idea, called the Nigerian Academy for Cultural Studies, which is going to run like a monotechnic, where young people of age 18 to 20, just coming out of secondary school, can get in there to first of all understand, appreciate, and have enough knowledge of our culture. Once you have done that, you are culturally and psychologically preparing the child for the future. Now, it doesn't have to run with the inferiority of feeling that, or the complex of feeling that his culture is inferior to British culture, Asian culture, or any other culture in the world. Because that school would have provided the opportunity for them to learn about who they are. And I said again, and I'm trying to say it again, all over again, that there is what we call human pride, pride in humanity. This can only come with cultural orientation and cultural understanding of who you are, who your past has been, and what your future is likely to be.
Perhaps the Institute is looking into widening its reach in terms of the use of technology, especially at a time where other nations are quite interested in what other cultures have to really give out.
Well, let me tell you very frankly, there are two departments in NACOS, Nigerian Academy for Cultural Studies. One of the departments is called Cultural Technology Department. Now, Cultural Technology Department is, like you said, trying to put culture and technology together. And you will imagine, you will see that if this happens, it's going to save Nigeria a lot of, foreign exchange that we spend on importation. We import a lot of common things that we can do here. So we're trying to make technology, to infuse technology into culture, to see what can come out of it for our people to benefit, rather than spending huge millions of dollars, importing things that are of common, bathroom slippers, toothpick, and all of these things. We should be able to look inward and produce all of these things for the good, for the ease of livelihood for our people. The second department that is most profound is called Cultural Pharmacology Department. Cultural pharmacology simply says all our herbs can be turned into something useful to heal our people, as it was in the past. Again, we are collaborating with a lot of professors of biology, science, and all of that, and even the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, all of the agencies that we need to collaborate with to come up with one idea that can actually look inward and solve common problems of our people. That way, go to China, you have little health complications, they give you herbs, you drink, you are fine. It was like that here in the past. It can still be like that now, with recognizing technology and all of that. We can still reinvent some of these things we thought we had lost.
Right, and of course, especially at this time of our country, where we are having cultures taking or being against one another, not exactly cultures, but, you know, regions. How can we also use a day like this to facilitate national cohesion now more than ever?
Culture is a unifying factor. Anywhere in the world, people take their cultures very sacrosanct. People respect their cultures. People feel that their culture is their identity. Their culture is their hope. And as a result, you know, no government ever tries to, you know, violate people's culture, not anywhere in the world. And that is to tell you that if we continue to play on our cultural diversity positively, it is capable of uniting us. For instance, our institutes are taking a lot of effort to ensure that Gelede, you know, has been inscribed as an element with the United Nations. Argungu Festival has been inscribed. World Shango Festival has been inscribed. Ifa divination has been inscribed. Inscription means global recognition of a particular, you know, festivity, oral tradition, or heritage, intangible heritage of a people. You know, so we are struggling now. We are trying now to see how your festival of Lagos, you know, can be inscribed with UNESCO. We had written a couple of letters to the government of Lagos. We're still expecting some response from them to begin to take this thing to the global stage, where once your festivity or activity is recognized by UNESCO, what it means is that it comes in the map, in the diary and map of global map for tourism. So it makes tourism, you know, a lot more pronounced for your element. And you can imagine what happens. The economic value is high. This is why we try to see some of the festivities in our environment that have attained some, you know, global dimension and recognition, get them inscribed with UNESCO so that they can, you know, have more recognition. I tell you, Italy experiences 85 million visitors a year, and they are tourists. You can imagine what makes their economy tick. So we can do the same. We just need to be a bit more meticulous in our planning and ensure that we have continuity in some of the plans we put on the table as a government.
And the area of culture is a sort of sector that I would say to an extent we've not been able to, you know, get as much as we can. But beyond collaborations with state governments, professors that you mentioned, is this institute in isolation of the Ministry of Arts, Culture, and the creative economy? And perhaps what policy frameworks would you really need from the government to support this move that you're making at this time?
Well, you should know very clearly that everything we do is, you know, is on the platform of the Federal Ministry of Arts, Culture, and Creative Economy. So we are an agency of that, you know, ministry. So to that extent, whatever we do is, you know, is as recognized by the ministry. You know, we cannot do anything as an agency without the support, approval of the ministry, supervising ministry. They have been supportive in this respect, and, you know, because of the huge cost outlay, we decided to ask state government, state governors to donate structures to us that we can use as campus. Once we have these donations, we have had positive response from Cross River State Government. We are about to have some positive, you know, response from Ebonyi State Government, and other state governments have not responded. Ogun State and a couple of other states, I can't remember now, have not responded. But we keep pushing until we get a response from them. Once these campuses are donated, then we will need little resources to renovate them. And we are talking to some government agencies like the NCC to see how best they can give us you know, computers and internet service and all of this kind of thing to be able to make the institute up to. Now, we have spoken to the Chinese government as well to give us support in whatever way they can, and a whole lot of other you know, institutions are collaborating with us. UNESCO will support us because that is capacity building at a very high level.
All right, a fine place to leave our discussion on the occasion of the International Day of Intangible Cultural Heritage. Biodun Ajiboye, who is the Executive Secretary and the CEO of the National Institute for Cultural Orientation, thank you very much for your contributions.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate your time.